back to the Rambling Ram Report. I'm your host, Luke Meadows. Here with me is resident Allen's favorite teacher, Miss Wendy Lee. Miss Lee, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you, Luke.
No problem. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, one of the first questions I wanted to ask you is, Miss Lee, how long have you been in education?
Oh gosh, so my first child was born in 1992.
Okay.
And I decided that, of course, I wanted to have her learn French and Latin and all these subjects. So when she was about 2 and she started writing, which is extraordinary.
She was writing it
Yeah,
too?
she knew how to write restaurant. I know.
I couldn't even read it too. I couldn't even read in first grade.
I didn't know she knew how to spell her name. I thought, well, I can start. So I actually did a lot of research. I kind of looked at different pedagogies. I looked at different teaching styles, and then I ordered a whole bunch of teaching materials. And they came to my house, and I opened it up, and I'm not going to mention what curriculum I chose, but I cried. I was like, I don't want to teach this way. So I sent it all back, and then I just wrote my own curriculum for her because I wanted it to be more project-based. And so I would say probably 1994 was when I started kind of researching and knowing and then learning what I wanted to do. And because I did not go to school for education, I sought out people who I thought, that's an extraordinary teacher, what are they doing? How are they doing it, and what do they subscribe to? So I would just absorb everything I could from different people.
So a lot of what you know about teaching is either from the internet or from other teachers.
Other teachers, yes, and reading and books and yeah.
So where did you even get the idea of creating your own curriculum for your daughter instead of just sending her to school like a lot of other parents would?
So when we moved to Bryan College Station, I didn't really know a lot about the kind of the educational culture here, but I knew that I wanted my child to have a classical education, but I also wanted it to be twisted in a different way, whereas I wanted it to be really hands-on based. So kind of like Montessori and classical mix, and there wasn't anything like that I found. I had a roommate in college who was a education major, and I think it made me not want to send my child to school, and because I thought, wow, I think I could design something better. So I just looked at what do kids do developmentally along the ways, and I read a ton. Like I spent hours reading, researching in the library what I wanted to do, and then I went through the classic books, and then I made them relate to geography and history and language. And so the first thing I started doing was literature based, and that's kind of just grew from there.
So when you went to college, what was your plan? What was your career aspirations, I guess?
I was going to be a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a biochem
Dr.
major.
Lee.
Dr. Lee. I was a biochem major, and I think in high school, we have Miss Stewart here, and she's so fabulous at helping people see their passions and stuff. When I was in high school, they were like, well, you're smart, you've got these scores, so you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Generic stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think we were given the opportunity to explore a lot of our passions, which I think at Allen we allow kids to do a lot. And that's like one of my biggest goals, because I didn't have that opportunity. I was in all we didn't have AP, but I was in all the highest classes, and you just took them. No one cared whether you had a passion about something. And then if you got high scores, you would just be funneled into this kind of area. But then I went to college, and my plans changed, and I discovered things. I wish that when I had spent my 9 months in France, that I'd actually discovered that, oh my gosh, I love history, which of course I did.
Yeah.
And I love language, and I love art. But I was young, so and I didn't have that steering. I was the first person in my family to go to college.
Okay.
So my parents didn't know, and so it was a lot of trial and error. I switched universities. I went to Bates University. I switched mid-semester
Oh.
and went to Eastern University, which is in Pennsylvania. And basically, I wanted to get out of college and started working. So I found a major, and I was paying for college myself. So
Okay,
I found
yeah.
a major that I could borrow books from the library because books were so expensive.
So expensive, yeah.
I was working 3 jobs as it was to pay for my housing and my food. So I decided to be a French literature major and sociology minor. So.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, well, kind of. But then of course, you know, I graduated and I started working in different fields, and I just discovered all the different things that I loved. And then I started doing art, and then I taught art history, and then I was given an opportunity by the head of another school to write the curriculum for art history. And the next year it was art history and AP Euro, and then APUSH,
Really,
and then AP Language Composition. And I was sent to all these conferences, and I loved it. And I loved finding material that worked with multiple different children. You know, I loved it.
Each kid is different, as you know.
And I didn't realize I was doing a lot of the same things that that a lot of Allen teachers were doing at the same time. And Dr. Winkler and I had been friends, and we had had a lot of conversations about education. And she realized that my philosophy of education and
Aligned with Allen's.
And she was the first one who kind of said, "Hey, you need to apply at Allen."
So I want to backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
You talked about your time in France. What led to you ending up in France, and how did that kind of shape you into who you are?
Okay, I was 19 years old.
Oh, so you were very young.
Yes, I was 19, and it was my sophomore first semester, and we left the end of July. And I just decided, you know, I wanted to change. I wanted to do something different. I'd had kind of I'd been in the hospital my freshman year. The dean of my college had been shot by a student.
Wow.
And so I just thought, I need a change. I need to get out of America. So I went to France, and actually it was a very dangerous time in France at the time. It was, there had been bombings in L'Opéra and different places in Paris, so it was a dangerous time. We had to have visas to get in there. But when I was there, oh my gosh, I just loved it. I loved the language, I loved the people, I loved the architecture, the history, everything. And I lived in Nantes, which is right at the kind of the beginning of the Loire Valley, and it was a royalist city during the French Revolution.
Okay.
And actually a number of their citizens were taken out onto barges, and the soldiers had put holes in them and drowned the people because they were royalists.
Yeah.
But it was just a fabulous, great group of people I was with. We had the opportunity to travel on the Loire, and we were able to go to different places like, let me see, where we were Mont Saint-Michel. We went to, of course, we were in Paris, so we got to see all the sites there. Sacré-Cœur is my favorite church.
Yeah.
Of course. And Notre Dame, I got to play the organ at midnight in Notre Dame when I was there. It was just an amazing trip. So then when I came back, I realized, maybe I don't want to be a biochem major. Because I like bio and I like chemistry, but I love literature, and I especially love French literature, and I love the history around it. And so that's when I switched universities. And eventually my advisor that I had, she spoke Catalan, which is
is that like a native French language?
No, all right, so Catalan is
it's in Spain, right?
Yeah, you know where it is.
Yeah.
We were talking about it today, Barcelona area. And, but if you read ancient, like French and Spanish, it kind of is this
combination?
And I just thought she was incredible, so I was like, I want to learn languages like this woman. She was amazing. But I think France shapes me in the fact that it helped me see that I was more passionate about the arts and humanities than I actually was the sciences. Even though I've taught chemistry and I've taught
So that's interesting because my next question was going to be, how did you find your passion for? Because you're obviously very passionate about art and history. So I guess you just answered that question, how you found your passion for art and history. Another thing you also have a passion for theater. And that's actually how you came to Allen, because you were friends with Dr. Winkler through the theater company, if I'm correct.
That's exactly right.
Yes. So what kind of role has theater played in your life, and how big has it been for you?
So I actually did radio plays in England.
Oh, okay.
When I was like 10 or 11, my mom would drive me into Leicester, the city, and like at 3 o'clock in the morning, because that's when we would.
What is a radio play?
It's like a play that's done. And it's
you just hear the audio of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's other things in it, like they do sound effects and stuff like that, and I was always a little boy in it, and I don't know, I guess I had a little boy voice or something. But then my school in Broughton Astley, Thomas Essie College, they did Oliver, and I just thought it was the best thing in the world. Like, it was the best. I was a little boy in it, and I sang all the songs, and I wanted to be the lead girl in it. Of course, I was the littlest in the entire show. I was never going to be the lead girl ever. But I just loved it so much. And then when we moved to America, I did a few things, but moving to Bryan College Station was the big thing. And my kids actually were the ones who dragged me into it. Yeah. Victoria and Hannah, they wanted to do theater, so I took them up, and they did King and I liked it. I did painting for the theater and stuff. And then the next show was Fiddler on the Roof. And my kids were like, just audition. I was like, I haven't prepared anything. I don't even know if I know any songs. And then I was like, wait, I did know this song, because I went to drama school when I was really young. So I was like, well, maybe I can sing this song. So I had this young man write down the words, and I literally got up with a napkin
and then read them
and sang from this napkin.
From the napkin.
And I think it was Close Every Door to Me. Anyway, and it's a song that a boy sings, but I sang it, and so I got a role as, gosh, what was my first role there? Mottle the Tailor's mother.
Okay.
And she does nothing really, and so I decided to make it the biggest role in the entire show.
Very Miss Lee fashion.
Yes, it was no longer about Golda and her husband, and it was about Mottle the Tailor's mother. So that's why I love theater. It's about telling stories, right? And I love telling stories. So I would every day have a story to tell at the wedding scene, because you want every scene to be fresh, and you want everybody to kind of be on their toes. So I would come up with a story, usually a scandalous story about all the characters, and I would tell all the women at the table, and every day they'd be like, all right, she's going to tell us another story. Because you're actually, when you're on stage and you're not a main character, you're still acting all the time. So I would always tell them these stories, and they would always be horrified by my stories. but it would keep them all in the character, and every day they'd be like, oh my gosh, she's going to tell us another great story. So it was just fun. And then after that, what did I play after that? I think it was in Sweet Charity. I played multiple characters. It was fun. And so then I just started doing it. My husband started doing the lights there. My other daughters all joined in. My son was the only one who didn't do it. We painted, we did sets, we did costumes, we did everything, and I just loved it.
Very artistic family.
Yeah, and then I met Dr. Winkler.
There we go.
Yeah.
And now you're at Allen.
I know. She sat next to me in the dressing room, and she has an incredible voice.
I've never heard her sing, but I've heard she does.
She's an incredible voice. And so she was one of the women who sang this, I think they were called like not Heavenly Voices or something like that. And I was Glinda the Good Witch, and I had this enormous dress that once I got in it, that was it.
You couldn't get out.
Yes. So she helped me if I had to do things like go to the bathroom or things like that. She would help, because they literally sew me into this dress, and it's enormous. And then there's a hoop skirt, and it's all this stuff. So like walking down things and walking through doors. So she helped me, and we just became, besties. She's great.
That's great. So one last question.
Okay.
And I hope this doesn't cause too much controversy in the Lee
dear.
household. Out of you and Bella, who is the better actress?
Oh gosh, Bella for sure.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
So no question about it?
No question.
No question. All right.
Yes.
Well, she'll be happy to know that.
Yeah. That acted on stage with a concussion. She was knocked out in
Which
a show.
play was it? Was it one here or one at the theater company?
Theater company. She got hit in the head with a.
I remember you telling us the
yeah,
story.
like someone walked through the curtain, hit her with a wooden bench.
Yes.
Knocked her down. She was in the hospital all night long. I don't even know if she remembered her name, and we actually couldn't even perform the second act, which has never happened. I don't think it's ever happened at the theater company.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next day, we were like, all right, so this is where you're going next. And she had a huge role.
Yeah.
She was the only child actor in the whole show, and she just did it. She's an amazing actress. Yeah.
Yes, and she's actually at Sam Houston now for acting.
She is. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And I mean, I was only in what, 2 plays with her, but she was.
I think you're pretty incredible too.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. And thank everyone here for tuning in and watching. Thank you, Miss Lee, for coming on.
My pleasure.
Tune in 2 weeks, not next week, but in 2 weeks for the next Rambling Ram Report. Thank you.